Welcome to the Tech Panel.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The podcast where tech minds meet.
Oh, hey, before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell.
Welcome back to the Tech Panel. I'm your host, Arvin.
And I'm Sarah Bowers, and today we're deep diving into the fascinating and sometimes controversial world of artificial intelligence with our special guest, Dr. Andrea Isoni. Dr. Isoni is the Chief AI Officer at AI Technologies. He's also a global speaker and a recognized thought leader whose research and expertise span cutting-edge applications of artificial intelligence.
Andrea is also the acclaimed author of Machine Learning for the Web and shares insights with thousands through his popular newsletter, Thoughts About AI by Human. In this episode, we'll explore some intriguing, provocative, and possibly contentious topics around AI, ranging from cybersecurity threats, business disruptions, workforce impacts, to AI ethics and more. This is the Tech Panel. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us at 11 p.m. at night over in the UK there. Thank you. Firstly, I wanted to start by getting you to explain a little bit about what you do. So I read that you have a PhD in computational fluid dynamics. What on earth does that mean? And yeah,
you already got it wrong. Computational fluid dynamics.
Computational fluid dynamics, isn't that what it said?
Amateur.
Tell us what it means and yeah, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. Apart from your internal debate on pronunciation of words, is basically a combination of physics, math, and actually software, as in software development code, to understand how fluids, air is a fluid, water is a fluid, etc., behave in certain situations. Therefore, is in a practical way, is for aircraft, for rockets, all of that. And or understanding wind or structure around wind, vortex structure like tornadoes and things like that.
Wow, that sounds incredibly complicated. How are you using that in what you're doing now with AI and with technologies?
It's indirect. What I mean by that, there is a bulk of knowledge that is common to any, I would say, scientific work, which is basically you know how to code, you know how to read equations and write it and understand what an equation doesn't do. And if you tune a parameter in an equation, okay, you should understand what is going on, always supposed to be the impact of that. This is the common ground of basically any real deep engineering work, including within the machine learning engineer job, data scientist job, etc. Now, my work today is basically I manage AI project, which also means I manage teams, but I got involved as well in get my hand dirty in code when if necessary. And therefore, again, the basic of any scientific, deep scientific job, including machine learning engineer, is again software development and understanding equation and what to change in an equation, what the impact will be. And therefore, that's what I really got my PhD. The application is different, obviously. That it was vortex structure and fluids, etc. Here's the application is making an AI robot or a solution or whatever better, etc.
Wow.
Did you always think you were going to be heading for AI or a career in AI? I'm just trying to imagine right now, if you go to university for a degree in computational fluid dynamics, I don't imagine a way where it branches typically into AI modeling. How did that come about?
Yeah, but obviously the answer is no. And the reason is easy because there wasn't such a thing as a data science when I started. When I started the PhD, it was about to start, at least in UK. I'm living in London, by the way. In UK, it was about to start when I when I finished my PhD. It was about 2014. And therefore, no, it couldn't be possible. So that's really the answer. But then as I say, you try to figure out something that is what can you do with your skill set? And these, since about something that I first like it. Second, I could employ the skills that, as I said before, I was developing during the PhD.
Yeah, it sounds, I guess it sounds like, almost like the perfect experience to go into AI, because AI is so much more complicated than just the coding. There's like I guess a philosophy behind it. There's governance. There's so many different things involved in there. And, data scientists have to be, I guess, trained in all different things to kind of, I guess,
It's an
grapple with
hybrid.
AI. Yeah, it's a lot more than just developing a piece of software. There's so many, ethical conversations as well around it. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with AI technology. So that's the company that you're working with, correct?
Yeah. So, Chief AI Officer here at Full Disclosure, also one of the directors, a few other associates. Basically, all I do is talking to client, understanding their problem, structuring projects, and delivering them. That's basically, I would say, 90% of my work is to understand what a client wants, structure a project, and manage a team for that.
Can you give us an example of what a typical structure looks like? So for the average person who doesn't work in software development or project management, like what does someone like you at your company do for customers?
And who are those customers?
Yeah. Well, first of all, just for the last question, the customer can vary really, from founder startup to government institution, etc. They usually come up. I can skip the part of discussing the project because this is an art. You see, it's unknown, and things like that, right? It's fair, all in between, because the client doesn't know necessarily AI, but has an idea in mind. Maybe it's possible, not possible. He doesn't know he can do something else, for example. And that's all sorts of discussion with a lengthy, consuming, but also that's where basically the project kicks in. Now, let's assume that is done. We agreed on doing something. Something can be a mature chatbot for a specific type of user base, and the chatbot has certain type of regulations, and we need to develop that. If someone wants an AI solution for drone, automatically detect grass or disease of grass on drone, and want an AI model to do that in a specific environment, etc. They have the data collected, etc. Someone wants an anomaly detection solution for malicious behavior within a intranet. It's also basically a cloud environment within a company, and people that could access to that, like guests, something like that. A malicious behavior model that tell you basically if someone use the internet, so the IT infrastructure inappropriately, then you have a flag or an alert system, etc. A judge system. We did even that last year. Last year. Like basically a ministry in Saudi Arabia asked us to do a POC to replace, obviously it's a POC, so they didn't. But the idea was to understand what's possible for car accident. If you have all the information and the information of of previous judged cases, can an AI model judge a car accident like a judge would be, and what will be the accuracy? In this case, was 95%. So we understand what the client wants. We understand if they have the data. If they don't have data, by the way, not necessarily it's game over. There are ways to go around and quality of data, security data, etc. We structure that. We give you milestones, because it's not that, okay, see you in 6 months, you get you get the project at the end. No, it's there are usually milestones with risk situation in which we, as much as we can, we explicitly say, look, if we get to this stage, it may be possible we cannot get further for whatever variety of reasons, or we need that data. Without that data, we cannot do, but we could do something else, etc. So there are milestones along the journey. The process can be around 6 months to 2 years, depend what it is, depend on which level you want to go. A POC usually is around 6 months, but if you're going to get live, you go to 1 to 1 years. Live as in a scalable solution that is used by the final users, basically. Yeah. And I follow all the process in between, in discussion with the clients and the tech team.
So I guess to simplify it, would I be correct in saying that you could go into any business, you could audit their systems and see what they're doing, figure out what the problem is that they want solved, and then you say, this is how AI could help your business or solve this problem. We will develop that,
Do a
that
budget.
program for
Very
you.
important.
Yeah. And then we will work with you on implementing that
Sure.
for the next few years
Correct.
or however long that project will take. So it's
Absolutely.
almost
Yes,
a bit of
that's exactly
business
what I do.
consultancy as well as the AI, and you've got to kind of have all of those skills, I guess, in one to be able
Yeah,
to
but
do
we
that.
actually develop the software, yeah?
Yeah.
The software then is got delivered to the client. It's not just consultancies, we tell you what to do. No, we actually doing it and give it to you.
Yep, and you develop that specifically and tailored to that
Software.
client and that client's
Absolutely.
needs to fix that
Sure.
problem. That's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
This is a classic example where we're seeing like AI everywhere right now. Based on your perspective, what do you see as one of the more exciting opportunities that people are not taking advantage of in the AI ecosystem? It seems most people are dealing with it and just capturing data, processing it to make life a little bit faster. Are we missing the forest for the trees here and not taking advantage of much greater capabilities that the software provides?
Well, we need to distinguish between use case for like consumer, I mean, what I can do at home, and what happening within corporation. The case is totally different. It's the reason is liability. I mean, if you got a wrong, case in your home, etc., is your liability, not big deal.
Yeah.
The reason why there is a refrain in business is because they need to check their liability. Obviously, there are people involved on if got wrong with someone in the company should be responsible for it. That's exactly what that person that usually stopping. Fair and fair. It's actually fair. Even if the risk is small, why should I risk within my company? Even if it's very small risk, it's a fair, fair argument. So this is the first discussion to do. If you're consumer is the easiest, to say. Look, just try to use it. Just try to use for, you're structuring something, even a recipe when you're cooking, instead of going to YouTube and finding a video to, fix the washing machine or whatever, you can actually try if the whatever the LLM you want to use as the instruction there. If you miss the instruction because you left the lift when you bought the washing machine for thinking that it's not important or whatever you put in the shelves, probably it's there. I'm exaggerating, but just to make you see that there are things that you couldn't even imagine. Even there are probably in these. The way to think about an LLM is imagine a huge database of common stuff. Again, a lifter of a washing machine that probably people either throw away when they buy it or they put in a shelf, who knows where it is. These kind of things, they probably all somehow intermingle in there in this large database subject and easily retrievable. Okay, of course, you can Google it. But if you Google it, yes, you may find it, but you will not start to read the part that is important to you, etc. There directly you will find the part that mostly is important. To be fair, even Google now does it, right? When you Google
Very
something,
handy.
the first option is the LLM, really, not the full thing.
Yeah.
But it can be applied almost to everything. In the liability spectrum of easy things to do, yes, there will be easy, but there is also a liability thing that's for the company may not allow you to do it. You can still do it and sneak it in, but with again, the liability is the liability of the company that can be solved only on individual cases, etc. So even if it's easy, it doesn't mean the liability is easy to solve.
Paraphrasing what you're saying here is for the average everyday person who wants to take advantage of AI in their everyday life, there's very little risk because it's just an individual taking the risk of trying to digest whatever information the system provides you. But for a company where the expectation is that there are employees that are the authors of decisions and liability or the risk for the company typically lies with that individual employee. Now what you're doing is you're introducing an unknown variable into how a business can operate, being AI. You don't have a relationship with them. You don't know what it knows or how it's going to present information. And you're essentially saying for an employee to start utilizing a system like that, you're essentially letting a system drive that person's role. And if the system provides bad information and the person doesn't take it seriously enough, they could potentially implement practices, policies, or anything that could be erroneous, not up to date, or any number of
There's a lot of
yeah,
risk factors
a lot
there,
of
and
risk
then they're
factors.
liable. So the
This is
businesses want to
one of the
reduce their
cases.
liability.
There are many more.
Yeah.
More in depth of that, because at the end of the day, in that case, at the end of the day, the even if you do in your specific case, the user is responsible, right? So you cannot say, "Oh, the LLM told me," and doesn't exist. You heard, but at least to check at the end.
Yeah.
What he said. So that could be quote easily solvable, but there are many more things to solve. Look, to cite something I already say, there is a real winner for AI, for AI development, is actually cybersecurity. Because if you see companies are spending, companies in terms of investment and VC are spending huge amount of money to make this thing work and to develop even further, etc. But the return are mild at the moment. They will come, but at the moment, as we speak, are mild. 100% there are return in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Because the moment you have this is as you say, an additional thing to check within your infrastructure, they include a lot more risk. Another risk can be, for example, if you put information into this LLM, and this LLM is from a third party, what's the policy of the third party? Yeah, which information are you actually taking out from your company to a third party? This is a quick example. If there is any hacker or intruder within the system, can twist the machine to use your data in a way that you shouldn't do to your whatever client or relative or third parties to twist the account or twist whatever else into the system? Yes, technically it's possible. So you need to protect even that. So it's not just it's encompassing everything where you put in a business environment. Just not only okay, we are gonna benefit because everything is gonna be efficient, which is true. But the problem is, what's the risk cost to having that, and what's the cost to secure that against the other things? It can be very possible. Obviously, there will be many cases possible, but it needs to be assessed.
Yeah. So the benefit, as you said, the benefit is efficiency, but at what cost? What are the risks?
Yeah, exactly.
We weigh it all up, and that's something that you do.
It needs to be assessed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And what do you think the biggest risks are at the moment for AI?
It's too broad.
Too broad.
Maybe cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Let's focus on cybersecurity there. What do you think is the biggest risk from a cybersecurity perspective?
Okay, so the biggest is deepfake, 100%.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's the biggest because it's hard, is difficult to detect and close to impossible. As in LLM in text, hard/impossible. Images, we are close to impossible, still possible, but it start to fail even more. Video is the detection still is holding on. There are reasons for that.
Yep.
Because video is a combination of audio, text, and also because when you move the mouth, we expect in a certain way you move, we expect in a certain way certain tonality of voice, etc. And this is very difficult to all synchronize for an AI today. Yeah, synchronize all these things to that video, the tonality with the movement of the cheeks for the expression of the emotion. All that is very difficult. So the video is very difficult. Therefore, the detection works. Text is close to impossible. Is good enough. Image, we are close to not making work for many situations. Therefore, it's the biggest risk because there is no a solution that you could say you can trust that will solve the problem.
So you're saying deepfakes there's no way to really test if it's real or fake. It's quite hard to
not
see.
Just with one AI detection tool. There was a moment, I think, in 2023, there was a bit of a hype, I believe, on AI detection tool. They're gonna work, etc. As you can see, nobody's talking about AI detection tools today.
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't work too much. That's a sad reason. As there's technicalities that they work in simple. It's like to put in perspective antivirus, right? Everyone has an antivirus in the machine. Is he catching everything you can get in your computer? No, at all. That's the kind of way you see, AI detection tool. I mean, if it's very, quote, dumb, fake, they will catch it. All the rest, up to other situations. Same thing, right? Antivirus. Everyone has it. It will catch the dumb virus. The one that,
It's very
for
obvious.
all the
Yeah,
rest, sorry, you need to do many things, no one.
Yeah.
That's the kind of analogy I think it kind of makes sense.
This risk seems to always have been present for all businesses, though. Like the average person trying to steal data, probably going to have a difficult time breaking into a company, but the average antivirus doesn't necessarily hold up against a sophisticated, targeted attack against a business.
At all.
And the same risk you're saying rings true for AI. I suppose the greater risk for AI is that the capacity for damage to your business is significantly greater. Like an email coming in, posing as the CEO of the business, there's many ways you can identify that email or procedures that you can put in place that's like, I don't trust this. However, getting a video call from your CEO that looks and sounds and is a direct order from someone that's senior to you, telling you to do something like transfer money from this account to that one is a huge risk to the average business. A huge risk, especially if they call you and, they tell you to do something. You're like, well, who am I to question the CEO? This happens all the time in businesses. I mean, we work with countless partners and they're saying these are things happening to them on a day-to-day basis. And,
of course, they do,
right?
Sure.
It's only going to get worse and worse, I suspect, as these AI systems become released to the general
public. As I say,
public.
the true winner is cybersecurity.
The true weakness, did you say, is cybersecurity?
Yeah. It's as in terms of profit and money making, the true winner of AI is actually cybersecurity, because it's you need to secure all that, and there is a constant battle in which you shift the skill set, but you're never gonna have a final victory against the adversary. Yeah. The malicious actors will improve, and then you improve, and they will improve, and you improve again. It never ends. And therefore, it's perfect for making money on cybersecurity. AI that's what it is.
The cost to develop something like a genuine, realistic AI system that copies the way humans emote and talk and sound, and that costs a significant amount of money to develop. I can only imagine there's maybe a handful of companies out there that have capacity to develop one of these tools. Why is it that regulators haven't come up with something that says, if you are building this tool and releasing it to the public, it must say like every 13 seconds, this is AI. You know what I mean? Something that could make it so the average person can't take this tool and apply it in nefarious ways. Same thing with the video. I feel like if the system had a watermark that just came on it said, this is AI.
Because I confess a mistake, okay? So every year in January, as a company, the main person is me, we release a State of AI report, right? Every January, this January was the 4th edition. 4 years in a row we are doing that.
Okay.
The year before, 2024, I say the same thing. We are going to, because every year we do prediction, yeah? On the next year, we're going to see, etc. I say something like 50% of the new image will be watermarked for the same reason, right? I'm going exactly what you say, pretty wrong. It never happened, right? This year. Why? And then I start to study. Why is it not happening? Like you say, right? The reason is watermarking solution, unfortunately, is very difficult to infringe. Very easy. I mean, you can take an image that is being watermarked with whatever technology, and you do a screenshot for your computer. This is the easiest way.
Yeah. And
then now you have the image. It's not watermarked anymore. You can reuse it. That's the easiest way you can. And there's no way out of it. There is no way you can avoid that. So watermark, unfortunately, has technical limitation.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's why there is no it can work in many again. It's like the antivirus kind of situation. but this is not the final solution at all. It can work only in certain situations. Therefore, there is no huge adoption.
I see like AI in these systems being almost like guns. Like, why would the average person need the ability to have access to something that can copy all of the intimate intricacies that are associated with being human and use that as a product on the market? It feels like this, again, the risk for taking advantage of a system like this and using it in nefarious ways are maybe not as life-threatening as a firearm, but in the sense that what it could do to the average person's life is, the risk is huge. Why don't we just like have systems that say for public use, the mouth won't even be there. It'll just be a face, but the mouth is missing. So, you know, oh, okay, this is an AI system. Again, like I think of the practical use cases that most people want is like, it'd be cool if we had like a support system where if you called, a video comes up, it looks like a person, it feels like you're talking to a person. Why do we need to be able to trick someone into not realizing that it's a system? I feel like there should be something in there that tells you it's a system. Yeah.
True. I do think there are at least guidelines on these things, as in when you talk to a chatbot, it should be recognized as a chatbot, unless there are other situations. Like for marketing purpose, I don't remember they use a voice of an actor on a kind of a chatbot avatar to marketing purpose or things like that. I don't remember what it is. If you come in my mind, I will do it. But for public service things, do you think there is something like that they did it? But as in a guideline that tell you, look, this is a chatbot or something like that. When you hear the voice, you know, in customer service, and you know, you're basically talking with a voice, you know, a voice assistant. And I think there is a guideline. It's not enforced. Why is not enforced? Because again,
we want to
there's no way to guarantee it. And therefore there is a huge liability and nobody will do it.
Well, I'd say maybe I'm wrong here, but my assumption is that it's not enforced because it wouldn't be as marketable if there was something that the consumer had that made it so you can remove the illusion, right? They want to be able to control, as a consumer, whether it's for nefarious purposes or market, whatever you want to call it, they want to have the control over how strong the illusion is, right? Like let's use the chatbot example. Just sorry, 2 seconds here.
Sure.
In the chatbot example, in the messages, the company's policy is to warn you this is a chatbot, but there's no legal guideline that says you must, as a consumer of this product and as someone who uses this product, have something in there that says this is a chatbot, right? Like if you start your business tomorrow and have a chatbot, what government watchdog out there is looking for people using this? It's up to you to put something in there, right?
I'm not sure there's this straight limitation. I kind of should know it, the answer, but I think there is at least a guideline. Second, I want to add on that is very, very market dependent. I know a statistic from Japan. Now, okay, Japan is very different country from us, but apparently most people, especially old adults, prefer to talk to a chatbot rather than a real person. Now, why? What it is all other stories. So it's very cultural dependent and situation dependent. If actually a consumer would prefer to talk to a real person, knowing there's a real person rather than a robot, knowing there is a robot. So I wouldn't be strict like saying you're just doing that because marketing is better for everyone. Basically, you're tricking people. This doesn't work too well. Also because it can backfire very easily because people could realize that and then nobody trusts that. As in, I wouldn't go too far on that. They're doing just to sound better in the eyes of the users. But yeah, I think there is at least a guideline that says that you shouldn't trick the user when it's an AI and stuff like that.
But that's a perfect example, right? You just told me a guideline. It's not a law.
No. Yeah.
I could do whatever I want if you guide
law,
me in a
though,
direction.
Even if there was a law,
yeah,
it's not. People are going to break that, and then if there is a law, and then the people that have
on top of that,
yeah. I feel like the bad eggs aren't going to abide by the law anyway, which will make it seem more legitimate, which will make it seem more believable, which might be worse.
But this is what I'm getting at, right? The average person won't have millions of dollars to develop one of these systems. Adobe would, or ChatGPT, or one of these other companies. If the law was in place, they would be the ones releasing the product to the market, and that would have these protections built into it. See what I'm saying?
And if that's at the back end, like if people are using that LLM to like build something else, then that's built in.
That's right. It's their product. They have complete control over these systems. Wouldn't it make sense just that the people who release the products have something in there that makes it so you could never be tricked?
So you're saying that it should be a law that if this is an AI, it should explicitly say there is an AI.
100%. What if you get a call from your doctor? You know what I mean? It says like, oh, I need you to transfer this information, or your lawyer, or any of these things. There shouldn't be a capacity for the illusion to be so convincing without an immediate alert at all times. And they're saying, this is a ChatGPT model or something like that. Or if it was a language, if it copied voice, it should, in the middle of speaking, be like copying person's voice, like, you know.
More sure about that. I never heard there is a explicit law that disallows. That say that. I should know that. I'm kind of ashamed of not knowing that. But I never heard that. I know that there is.
So Arvin's saying he doesn't think there is, but he thinks there should be one. He's saying he thinks there should be.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I completely get it.
Well.
But if I kind of surprised, the reason why I'm saying that, okay, because the UAI Act, at least the most famous law, body of law actually in AI, has been released last August, actually July 2024. Okay. Now, there is in fact, the main principle of that body of law is protecting life and human life, especially. What it means is that you have a lot of regulation in situation. So it's not about really of the business, but all the situation in which the human life could be potentially affected, you are regulated. All the other cases, no. The easy example is, okay, you're doing AI for scoring your exam, okay? Or healthcare for the mother, right? In that case, it's high risk and you should be high regulated because if the AI goes wrong, it will impact your future life or health, your life situation, things like that. If you're talking about a chatbot for your cat or that is broken, etc., yes, you can survive, kind of thing, right? So this is considered low and you shouldn't be too much regulated. This is kind of the principle on that. Now, that body of law, although I never, I've seen that kind of extensively, I never seen the issue, dictate that, is it an AI? Should say this is an AI when talking that, because it will not make the human, at the end of the day, the user will not be safer if he knows it.
You don't think the user will be safer if there's an alert when you're conversating with someone?
I don't think so.
At the end of the day, you want the result. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you want, if the output is correct or wrong, that's what you really is about.
But that's just for an LLM, right? I'm more concerned about
imagine
the video.
Whatever it is, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm more concerned about the video systems, right? If you
can
buy one of these video systems as a random passerby that happens to fall victim one of these things, I didn't want that to happen to me. That shouldn't be a service that is available for people to purchase and use in such a manner.
I think I feel like covered with other laws. I mean, if you're impersonating someone else, you have no right to do that anyway.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like that.
But I think about it like guns. Again, I want to pull it back to guns, right?
Okay.
If you want to purchase a weapon, there are laws in place that make it so you cannot purchase a weapon unless it is through an authorized government, deal, whatever we want to use for the world right there, right? You can't just go and buy a gun, right? Because the capacity for it to cause harm is great. I think these systems have not as equal, but a similar level of capacity to cause great harm to people.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't just be able to go onto the market and buy something that can unlock the capacity to steal millions of dollars, to destroy lives, or any of these other things. There should be something in there that's government mandated that snaps you out of the illusion and helps you understand that this is not a real person you're talking to. It's not your boss. It's not your doctor. It's not your lawyer. It's a system.
I think there will still be the roundabout ways. The people that want to use it for harm aren't going to go and buy it from the reputable dealer and give their details. They're going to do the roundabout way, so it's off paper, and they're going to, like guns, for example, they're going to do that. Same with this. If you've got laws in place, people that want to use it for bad reasons aren't going to go through all the laws and put their watermark on it. They're going to not do that.
Yeah,
so
it will not save you in any possible way.
Yeah.
It will put more liability on companies for very minimal result.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Do you think
I still think the people who are going to use it for bad aren't going to abide by the laws anyway.
Okay.
So they're going to use it for bad, and then it'll end up being worse because it's like the bad ones look really real because they don't say that they're AI. Like
let's entertain this idea for just a quick moment. Let's pull this thread. Let's say I am a gun dealer and I say, you know what? You can go and buy guns at an authorized place. And someone says, what's the point of having a government mandated place where you must go to buy guns? There's always someone that can get guns illegally. So let's just not put the laws in place because you can still buy illegal guns. I don't find that as a legit argument to make it so there should be mandated laws.
The problem is the usage. So guns cannot, basically the usage of guns in mostly do some damage, good or bad damage for whatever, we can discuss it. When you're using a technology or LLM, it's not just the damage. It can use for many things that nothing related to damage at all. Therefore, if you just regulate for the subset of the damaging, you're hindering and damaging all the rest of good activities.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah.
Wait, what do you lose?
Well, when you buy a gun, we want to do that. It's self-explanatory already, right? I mean, it's the same reason why we don't put, at the end, so also a knife, okay? If you buy a knife, you should, in fact, certain I think it needs to be at least 18 years old, the mere minimum. But again, it depends, because if that is used in so many things, putting a regulation, again, it's okay because it can be used only for the social activities. This is clear.
I like your knife example.
Everything else,
I like your knife example because you just said it's like a knife. Like, surely we have like rules that make it so you just can't buy them at 18. But being as someone who lives in the UK, I don't live in the UK, but from the news that I understand, knifing murders and crimes are infinitely on the rise in the UK, and there's a wall made of the knives that were leveraged to attack people.
Do you think
but also there would be more knives used to cut vegetables?
Diminish?
Good.
Here's the question: if you do a law on knife, a stricter rule on or law on knife buying or purchasing will actually have any impact on decreasing criminality?
Why don't we just get rid of the rules for guns then, or drugs?
No. Well, I think the knife is I think the knife's a good example. Like, you can use it, I would say, like 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's used for good. It's used to feed your children. There's a greater good. Like, it's used for that. If it was too restricted, I can't do it's just...
The problem is the broad usage of the tool. If the tool is too broad usage with very, unrelated to damage, it's becoming a problem. With gun you can, because the usage is narrow, in
narrow
a
usage
spectrum of usage, you already know what it's for. Therefore, you can regulate that. But when a tool, whatever the tool is, brought in so many different fields, and many of them is unrelated to arm, it becomes a problem. The regulation is ineffective now.
And as you said, they do have that law in July 2024. You said that is there to protect human life. Like, so if it is going to be of harm to human life, there is laws to protect that. So there are already sort of guidelines or regulations in place for that, right? To protect human life. But again, it's
EU,
there will still be bad eggs that will just abuse that or go around that or not care and use it for harm.
I feel like I could take this in 100 different directions, and I'm so curious about like what's happening.
Conversations, because it just throws up different points of view or different ways to think about it. Because it is this space that's like growing so quickly. Like, I mean, it was like AI was the buzzword, and now it's just everywhere. And I don't think it's just a buzzword anymore. It is ingrained in our society now, and it's going to be more ingrained in the future. So it is something that's just moving so quickly. And these sorts of laws and guidelines, I think, are always adapting. Is that correct? That they're always kind of evolving. And then someone like you that implements it in a company, you're looking at the guidelines for that company as well and how they should implement it.
Yeah. So are you asking if the law and regulation are changing a lot?
Yeah,
Yeah, but yes and no at the same time.
Yeah. You're doing it within your within your business where you are consulting for another business.
Sure.
You're kind of building it into that, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, we do full disclosure, by the way. I'm a ISO committee. ISO is International Standard Organization.
Awesome.
For people don't know, the most famous one in 27001 for cybersecurity or 9001 for quality. Basically, company want to certify their quality standards or cybersecurity standard in the organization. There is a new one called 42001, which I'm one of the committee member for the UK part. It's a complex organization. But anyway, the reason why I mentioned that is because now when we implement the solution, we have the benefit to give also the policy and the structure they align to the standard if they want. So not only the implementation, but we can build also the policy and the drafting, the things that will enable them to be also certifying certain in ISO, but also be aligned somehow somewhere with the UI Act, etc.
Yeah.
The reason why this is important is well, first of all, because sometimes you need to be compliant. And the second aspect of that, when you say there are a lot of regulation, it depends. Because US doesn't want to regulate unless it's not a federal level. The regulation, if they happen, is a state level. For example, California has one guidelines again, not exactly regulation. Texas guidelines again. But as far China has regulation, fine enough.
Yeah, well.
It's a bit different than the AI Act, but they have regulations on AI for.
But do you think that's more connected to them wanting to control how information is disseminated amongst their population versus like altruistic?
Yeah, it's a bit. I can tell you the main difference between them, at least the difference I found. Not sure if there are others. I can't read Chinese, by the way. So I don't know, but that's you need to be also a little bit not suspicious, as we say, neutral when you read things that are not exactly in the original language, let alone original language in legalese. Yeah. So that said, with this preamble in mind, is the main difference is the Chinese AI laws. They kind of mandate traceability. So basically, when your LM or the image, whatever AI tool you're using, there is a mandate in that the app should be traceable, if that's a word, back to the data of the model, etc. Okay. Which I found, as a practitioner, I found extremely hard because explainability, all of that is extremely, most of the time don't work, etc. So I don't know how they go around this. But there is this traceability element. It's like the supply when you buy food at the supermarket, right? And this piece of fruit, etc. There's a supply chain traceability and tell you all the stuff it go back to wherever it's being produced to the supermarket when you buy. I understand the concept. Now, doing that is another story. It's extremely different in certain mode, if not impossible.
Yeah.
I thought surely it must be easier, though, for an LLM, right? Like, if there are published sources on the internet which were scraped in the creation of the model's predictions, why can't we have it reference that? Like what I do, and I usually do use research purposes, I use the AI tool for research. I will say, tell me information about topics that I'm not informed on, and cite sources.
Oh, 100%. That's easy. No, that's easy.
But this is like, you're saying, yeah, you talk, yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. But there are cases in which, let's say, invent a document for a news story
Okay,
on
I see what you're saying.
a blue phone. For instance, also that. Um, you can invent stuff. Of course, you can ask explicitly, give me traceability of that.
Mhm.
Where did you find this inspiration, or is it you can? But obviously, it's invented as you ask it. So there is part of it that doesn't ground on anything.
Is it kind of like you're implying AI in its learning capacity learns a lot of things in passing by just absorbing data across wide different areas, but it wasn't, whereas some areas where it's actually formally taught, like maybe it's read chat conversations, posted on like support articles, and it's learned things from there, but it's also learned more formal areas where it's got an actual published medical journal where it's got information from a source like on a chat where it may have copied or scraped that data. It wouldn't be able to potentially cite that if it wasn't formally.
Yeah, no, okay. We need to do a good distinction, right? One, as we already do, right? If you formal data, you want cite everything you say needs to be cited. It's possible. In fact, we have even done as a company specialized model that does that. So every source is, but sometimes, in fact, I would argue sometimes not even, because if you want just source of information, you can go on Google, right? It's faster. If you just want the list of sources, sometimes it's even faster. What you actually, the benefit of this is not only, so you start with some ground truth, and you want to know what the ground truth is, the reference, but then you add a little bit. You want some conclusion, some analysis on top. That is, again, is an analysis, something on top, something can add on something. That is, you can say invent.
Yeah.
In fact, now it should be. Then it's based on the model, based on good you are on many things, on prompts, etc. That is good or not. It's completely invented, make no sense. Could be ever.
Okay. So you're saying it's sort of expanded beyond the capacity of it just referencing information. It's grown smarter and it's able to actually
depends on the
communicate
question
on
you
a more
ask.
personal level. It has opinions. Let's call it that.
You can ask for an opinion.
Yeah.
But you can ask on, I don't want any opinion.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you don't want any opinion, the difference between using that and using Google, it becomes a little bit narrower.
Okay.
The reason why it's so good is that give me an opinion on something so I will look good at dinner tonight. And easier to, that's good. I would say tonight at dinner. Just to give you an example, right? But that's if you just want a list of sources, you're probably faster online on Google, to be honest.
Well, at the end of the day,
Sure.
I think it's a great idea. I think if a government says, if you're going to use this system in our country, our people are entitled to understand where you captured this information from. Because people, I mean, I do it all the time. Like, how many times have we ever used an AI model where you ask a question and you're like,
is that true?
Yeah,
Let me Google it and actually fact check it.
That's exactly what I
it's
do.
like
Yeah.
you'd like to know where the source
I don't
is.
always
It's traceable. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But the problem, even if you cite the sources, doesn't mean that the conclusion will be agreeing with the sources. Yeah. So
True.
How do you use the sources?
That's right.
It's becoming, it doesn't solve anything, basically. Well, not, you can manipulate. How many times, without being, I don't want to be controversial at all, but it's very easy, right? Let's see, even a newspaper, right? They cite sources.
Yeah.
Now, can be citing it can go with against the source, and you don't know really because it can twist the word. It's flimsy. It's like trembling waters on these things. So yes, it's a good thing. So I'm not saying it's. By the way, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to cite sources. Right? I'm saying that it's not the holy grail of. There we go. We solved the problem. It's actually
it's not the main solution. Yeah, it's not as big a solution as like it's kind of made out to be. It's written into the law saying it has to be traceable. Oh, that sounds great in theory, but in practicality, it's a lot more complicated. Yeah. What would you, as a, so you predict a lot of AI, I guess, trends and, how it's going to evolve. As you said earlier, every year you sort of write a prediction of it. What are some of the things that you think are some of the predictions with AI, and then also some of the solutions to some of these problems that we might have talked about?
Okay, well, prediction are quite a few. In fact, I tend to forget. But for example, no, for example, I can give you one. Let's see hardware, for example. Obviously, everyone just talk about NVIDIA and stuff. I still think NVIDIA will be still on top in terms of hardware, as a best performance GPU available commercially. But do you feel that it's time for a mid-market to basically start? What I mean by that, there is a market for people that want the best performance, no matter what the price is.
Yeah.
And that's NVIDIA, basically.
Yeah.
And will keep being NVIDIA, at least for this year. Then it become, the more you open up the market and you have certain other solution, you may realize that, hey, I need a good quality. I don't need to splurge on, the best quality available. I still want a good quality for a good price.
Yeah.
That market will start to emerge, I think, this year. We probably AMD, one of the main players, not main, will get a good proportion of this market.
Yeah.
I think we are kind of that situation. Other can be, for example, this is long to talk about that, but so AI solutions there are already, it's been 4 years. One is the most famous one is AlphaFold. So basically there are AI models that can, look, technical person will kill me hearing that, but they will invent let's use the word invent, which is inappropriate, I know, but invent new molecules or, let's use the word model, new drug even more, but new molecules or invent new things in biology or specific things in biology, things like that. AI model can kind of do that today.
Okay.
And I think this is going to accelerate, especially with the discovery of, with the mass market adoption of things like Ozempic. Have you heard about Ozempic?
Yep.
Or Wegovy, I think it's called, the drug for, diabetes or weight loss or things like that.
Yep.
Now, all these things combined with these, the already known fact that you can use model to, quote, invent new molecule, etc. More than invent is a complex thing. So molecules actually is, a molecule works only if it has a degree of orientation. And you can imagine the amount of permutation, the way you can orient the molecule is huge. Now, these things is actually possible through various, that's why it's called folding different direction, etc. And if you discover the right orientation, then you have a molecule that is useful for something. That's folding. I explain a little bit more, hopefully it's clear. And knowing that there are drugs like GLP-1, which in commercial terms means Ozempic or Wegovy, and knowing that this drug now has been discovered can work in many other situations, weight loss, diabetes, and other stuff that I don't even remember now. And it's all about it's twisting a little bit, not sure, twisting a little bit the molecule. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Twisting a little bit the molecule. Knowing that, if you combine the two, I still think we hear the AI model by the end of the year or starting the next year will be employed to do something with it because the market is huge. It just, if you know that just twisting that could ends up in something, I think you will have that. If not, going to initiate in US the FDA, I think it's called FDA approval process to a new drug, which involves some AI solution.
Yeah. So you're
I know
saying
it's a bit complex.
No, but that's an interesting concept.
Clear.
Yeah, that does. So you're saying that you think within the next year that AI will be, integrated into pharmaceuticals, and biology in terms of like, finding ways to twist or manipulate molecules to create new drugs that can help people in a bunch of different ways as well. For example, you're saying Ozempic has multiple uses. AI will be used in that sort of manufacture of drugs and getting it FDA approved for multiple uses. You're saying that AI will have a role to play in that a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more, because it's a combination of the market is, there is a huge incentive inside using GPU world, because there's a lot, there's a lot of them under that. And AI models are kind of mature to do something on that. They're already being used again, but it's not, or they're already being used, so they know they can work, but it's not, a final stamp on, yes, this drug, there is potentially commercial, has been developed by using AI. That's not yet. But
it's on the cusp. You're saying it's being used at the moment.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of
about
on the cusp.
to grow.
Exactly.
It's right on the cusp.
Thank you.
And that's the big prediction, that it's going to like just go over that edge and actually be productive.
The thing I'm not sure about, if I can say that, is about agentic. The agentic hype kind of thing, so that you can deploy agent that work for you in all different structures. Basically, you becoming a manager or different agent to work for you. Of course, it's gonna come. Now, I'm not sure it's gonna come this year though, because the technology is a bit clunky, and you need kind of be a bit of a nerd to make all these things works. It's not something that the usual consumer with a couple of clicks can do today. This is kind of a misconception, I think.
So sorry, just explain that again. Are you talking about, for example, like Elon Musk was coming out with that sort of that helper in the house, like the something like that can do multiple things at once? Or is that different?
Even that, the actual robot, a physical robot with an AI, that's not coming this year, definitely. But another thing that probably heard in the news is this word is kind of a hype word. It's agentic. Means, for example, you have a procedure for writing emails to different people in the same way. And when you receive an email, always be drafted in a certain way. So you have a pipeline of process that you repeat yourself every day. So you build an agent of that for yourself, and you just manage the agent, you don't do nothing or something like that. And for a customer, they always ask you for the last invoice and a forecast for the supply of certain product. Instead of doing that manually and building the report, you build your agent. And whenever you're asking that, they do automatic, so you don't actually do it, you just manage it. It's possible, not saying it's not, but it's an hype because it's not going to come that fast. The reason is it requires a little bit of skill to do all of this. Because example I can give it to you, but still require a little bit of skills. There, I think it's Sakana AI. So there is this lab that created an agentic kind of tool that does all the research. So, I did my PhD myself. Yes, I wrote the code, but then I need to study the paper, and then I need to write, the research paper for the conference. I said, I did all my... No, they write a code that take, input from another paper, write his code itself, then revision if the code works or not, find if there is a good thing to a new result or some way. If there is a new result, then write a paper. The paper, then it go refined. You can find a new result. So this is an agentic system, yeah? But as you can see, it's not that a normal person clicking the button can do. It is an agentic system that basically automatize the research production. But again, we are a little bit under the curve for a normal user to build his own agents for his own work, to exclude himself for his own work.
How far off do you think we are from that? Do you think like a couple of years, or is it like a 5-year thing?
No, it's okay. The issue I got is about infrastructure. One thing is to say the user again can use it and no liability. And one thing is, because doing all of this, you will require significant infrastructure from a company side for various different reasons. not let alone obviously cybersecurity, the usual suspects, usually cybersecurity, governance, and stuff like that. And I mean, scaling this infrastructure is something that requires time. On top of that, just to give an example, a large bank, I have a friend there, it takes 1 year to do one POC in one jurisdiction, a large investment bank. And that's for a normal AI solution. Doing an agentic system will require at least 1 year to do all that and integrate all of that. To add on that, this will require a system like that, as you can see, require data or touch point from different departments somehow, because it's an agent that kind of, it can do in one department, that's okay, that will be an easy case. And when you're touching different departments, it's a more bureaucracy of people that are involved because of different responsibility. And let's be honest, if you have whoever experienced a large corporation, they know for a variety of reasons that they don't like, a department doesn't like to give data or information to another department for whatever reason. There are many reasons for that. Therefore, having an agent that can do that, you don't even know that allowing that to happen that fast is a bit of an exaggeration. It will happen, yes. I think these are sort of the things that will happen first with users than with companies. Not because it's not possible, but because there is a lot of bureaucracy procedure that needs to be moved around before being allowed.
With larger companies, I kind of get that there would be a lot of, I guess, blockages in that company and different departments to get that through. But it's something like, let's say a big company is already implementing Copilot, and through all their emails and things like that. Will that be sort of paving the way for this,
Yeah, absolutely.
agentic AI?
You need that. Absolutely. You need that. This is a first step to do that. It's like the internet was based on the actual physical cable done by the telco company. Yeah. Without a telco physical cable, you cannot do the internet at all. It's the same, right? So you build these Copilot things so people get used to it. They know how kind of understanding, and the next level would be that so forth, so on.
More that agentic AI that is actually very much tailored to that individual. Yeah,
I think it will take at least 2-3 years to see that, and something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but definitely not this year.
Yeah, not this year. That's the big thing that I think a lot of people go, oh, there's capacity to do that. Let's see if we can get that all happening. And it's like, actually, that's a much bigger issue.
You can do if you are very skilled. As in these nerd people. In fact, we are going to see that in the news a lot, the people that automatize their, but that person is then not the normal user.
No.
That person is a bit of a nerdy guy.
Yeah. Is that something
in a positive way, right? So,
is that something that AI Technologies, so the company that you work for, is that something that you can implement in a smaller business? Maybe you can actually create like an agentic AI.
No, we could do in anyone, but again, to have the authorization, that's why I know it, because to have the authorization, agentic or not, to have an AI system to take data and the pipeline of data come from different departments, it requires comprehension for different people, authorization from different people, rewriting part of the infrastructure. I mean, governance needs to change, etc., etc., etc. It's not a question that it's not possible. It just, you need to move few parts.
Yeah, it makes me curious, and I don't know if this is going way too off tangent, but I wonder if that's anything like what Doge, what Elon Musk is trying to do with the American government in there, trying to make that sort of thing efficient, make departments talk to each other. Is that something that he's trying to get like an agentic AI sort of model in there? No,
agentic, nothing with agentic. There is pure basic stuff. But again, there are two things. It's pure it's pure, normal, trivial stuff, right? Efficiency. Getting from paper to digitalized system, apparently. I don't know, but apparently that's what he said. So it's not agentic at all. But again, one is as the authorization, right? Is kind of the boss in that situation. Imagine a third party consultant, us or whoever else. We are not the boss. It's the client that decides if he ultimately wants to do or not, right? And even when you are the boss, it's not that you have no resistance. As you can see, there is reluctance, etc. and even if your boss is a boss with a certain caliber and weight, still there is a resistance. So not something that you can do.
Yeah. I was curious to know. I
like
thought he
that.
would be someone that could get something like that if he just like streamlined it. I don't know.
I always do this because I always like to like pull these strings a little bit. But you said earlier that we can start to use these agentic models to make things like drug development easier, more streamlined, and design things quicker. And you said this folding process is the matter of changing one molecule to another. But I think for the average person who's listening here who doesn't really understand what's happening, this is the difference between an amphetamine like, say, Ozempic, which is an amphetamine, or being a methamphetamine, which is a highly addictive, unregulated drug that's banned in almost every single country in the world, or dexamphetamine, which is another amphetamine that's used to treat ADHD, right? So these tools have the capacity to unlock really awesome positive solutions for the market. But I'm also wondering if we'll also be empowering nefarious people to create very addictive, harmful drugs.
Okay, first of all, it's not that without AI we're not doing that. We will not do at speed.
But the average person who doesn't have a molecular biology, whatever it's going to be, degree that teaches you how to do that, now you've got this system that's in your computer.
Obviously, again, there is the nerdy part. No, AlphaFold is not for one person that click the button, and that's not happening. These are more than need. Huh?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay, but it will take significant amount of time before.
Sure.
No, at least I don't think in the next 5 to 10 years it's possible that people just click the button and then, a new protein. Thank you. No. Again, the nerdy component, even here is even more nerdy component because in the biology, you need to twist the models. I mean, even me, probably I'm not exactly able to use it. I mean, it would take at least 1 year to be able to.
Sorry, we'll just pause for 1 second. We've just got someone coming in here.
Thank you.
What do we need for that?
I just received something. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll talk about this in just a moment.
Okay. Where do we put it?
Yeah, that's fine.
There? Okay.
Surprise.
Don't know. Someone's just coming in. Anyway, so go back to, so you don't think it's not going to be a click of a button thing where people will be able to manufacture their own drugs and that sort of thing.
These things is way beyond that.
You still need to have a chemist or a biologist,
you need to have a chemist, a biologist, a testing procedure person, the test all that. No. This is way out in any case. And still possible. Look, any tech, I mean, as I always say, a faster train is a faster train. Yeah. Then you can decide to spend more time with your family because the commute is shorter, or commute longer for getting to the next city, and and that's obviously not malicious assist on that. But hey, that's the technologies. But we decide as much as they will make you tell you that AI consciousness and all that, and you don't make any decision. You make it become a slave of AI or whatever they say. I don't believe in that. No, in fact, it will never happen, in my opinion. But no, yes, of course, we are accelerating. I can argue that. I know you want to get into that. I give you that. I never wrote. I've read a lot of content in AI newsletter stuff. But this is something that tricked my mind a lot. Basically, okay, so drug dealers, okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going a little bit out of AI, but I'm coming back to AI in a moment. So, one step back. So the first adopter of any technology, are usually malicious activity or not necessarily, borderline, let's put it that way. Drug dealer is one example. Any malicious of that, or adult industry, which not necessarily is malicious, right? You can call it borderline, but I wouldn't say strictly, not necessary, borderline, okay? These are the, first adopter. Now, it's interesting. Any technology, by the way, I read recently or seen a few documentaries fascinating. So basically, drug dealer now, they used to buy, as I say, a first adopter, any technology, the latest one available, including latest submarine for Russia, things like that. Now they got to the next level. They're building team to R&D new submarine for them, specific for them, their own design. Did you know that? So basically, this is another level. One thing is to buy the latest available before everyone else. The other thing is, okay, how about we R&D ourselves with our own specification, which is even more difficult to detect. So we have our own team to do that.
You're saying like the main drug dealers have they have an R&D team building their own
submarine with their own specification.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. This is another level. I mean, it's a different mentality. One thing is, okay, I have all the money, I buy the best I can buy before everyone else. And that's what we are tipping it. We have our own R&D expertise, and we build new submarine with our own specification. It's crazy. And I haven't seen that, but if that is possible, I could not, but I'm sure I will find it to validate my point. I'm sure I'm going to validate. They are going to build AI teams. They will build their own AI LLM. They're not going to use it. So when we say, the malicious people, they just, use the others. No. They don't steal it. They just build their own. I mean, do you think there's a problem for them to spend 100 million to train an AI model? I don't think so. So I think we are going to be at the other level. I haven't found any proof yet, but bear coming soon,
Yeah.
If not coming now, I just don't realize it's already happening. I just haven't any proof to do that. I mean, if they do a submarine, their own specification R&D.
Yeah. They're already building an AI model that's probably more powerful, they'll be working on that stuff. Yeah.
Imagine that, but it's also a shift in, I would say, in capacity, because imagine a drug dealer, even, how would I say, skill set, right? It's not an unsophisticated person. As jokingly, I can imagine myself doing a very pleasant conversation with this drug dealer. I mean, he knows a lot. It would be a pleasant conversation. I half joke on that, but you get the point, because he's not a person that is illiterate. I mean, if you want to manage your own R&D team, okay, fair enough. They have plenty of money, but still you need to understand something if you want to manage your own R&D. You need to, first of all, specify what you want, the specification. It's not just you buy. That buying is, quote, easy. Buying your own to build R&D is another level. So you need to be kind of skilled and literate in that.
Yeah.
Right?
They're running them as profitable businesses, and they're business people, and they're experts, and they're intelligent. They're running very, very intelligent, sort of complicated businesses. Yeah.
Exactly. So as jokingly, I would say that I imagine myself doing a very pleasant conversation, technically speaking, in this case. Because they know, probably they know things I never experienced, because they can try things we cannot.
Yeah.
Even with AI.
Yeah. And that comes back to my point of they'll always find a way. Even if there's regulations, they can build their own. They'll be...
Exactly. They build, not they buy. Because we have the mentality that the criminals... Because that's what happens so far, right? They steal or they buy illegally. They buy, but still buy, though, illegally from now. No. They're not building themselves. Not buying anymore. I mean, this is another level.
Yeah.
I think the difference where I'm coming from is that with LLMs, the genie was pulled out of the bottle long ago. They made it public, how to build it. Here's the technology. Encourage the world to build their own. The things like the video are very privatized. They're trade secrets that will determine whether a company will have an amazing product that will blow up the market or not. These aren't things that other countries have access to. For them to try to build that from scratch would take maybe a decade or longer, however many years it took for the private company to get to where it is right now, because that isn't public information that's available to the market. That's still owned by private companies. That has been years and years hundreds of millions of dollars in the making and is owned by them, but the government has the capacity to get in front of it and say, if anyone is allowed to take that from you, this is the way it should be used. I know we can't do that with LLMs. Anyone can build that because the technology is available to everyone. They teach you exactly how to do it because we want the world to catch up with that technology, right? It's the other things that I think I was more concerned about. But yeah, your point taken. People will try to find a way around it. But I think for some of these other ways, we still have the ability to get in front of some of these problems before they become a big issue for the world.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not diminishing the fact that it's a big issue. By the way.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, there is. It just, I don't think it's the way you're saying it can Apple that,
there's not just
unfortunately.
I think, yeah. But it's interesting. I feel like, do you think that, going back to, I guess, some of the problems and the solutions for the problems are, I guess, working with, companies like yourself, like AI technologies, and people that are going into business and helping you with these tools? Is that one way to sort of safeguard yourself and use the right procedures? Is that, something that's a good solution for using AI for good?
Yeah. So look, if you don't have the expertise inside, because obviously you run your business in whatever industry there is, 100%, your company like us can have exactly to, as you said, to put your catch up with all the things you don't know because you were busy running your own business, and we make you sure you catch up quickly and put you on the best path, and you respect the regulations. That's why basically a consultancy exists to play quick catch up with all the things you couldn't know because you were busy running your business. That's as short as it is. That's what we do.
And you're kind of always looking at it from the ethical point of view, the procedural point of view, all of that sort of thing as well is always evolving as the technology evolves and each specific business. So I think that's the way to safeguard everyone, is to kind of use experts in that field to do that. And I guess that would be what the majority of businesses would do, you would think. They would just be doing it themselves. They'd be kind of, going to these sorts of experts to do it.
I'm curious here. What do you think about it? We had someone on the show a couple weeks ago where I'll see if I can quote them correctly. I know this is actually a quote directly from you. The smarter you are, the smarter you can leverage AI, right? And we had a similar conversation with someone, like I was saying a couple weeks ago, where I was telling them, it seems like AI can take the average person and make them a savant almost, as far as like their capability to produce output
I can explain that.
In a company.
Sure.
But do you think it also runs the risk of making it so people that have trained years to be good at doing things, you won't need those as a company anymore? Why would I pay for an expert in the company if I can take an average person, bring them in, and they can leverage tools that make them a savant?
Sure, I can explain that very easy. So first of all, we need to put a distinction between short-term win to long-term win. Okay. When all this thing is true, you just need to connect in what I think is the right way. Okay, we may disagree the way to connect all these dots. Huh? So all these individual points you make are all true, but they seem conflicting. They are not conflicting, right? The reason is this. So for a new person, or intern or whatever, a junior person, yes, if you put an AI, it can quickly learn and become on the top. Now, this is the short-term way, the short-term. But imagine in the long term, at some point, everyone will do it, even the smartest one. At that moment, if everyone is doing that, what's the addition of it's still is clever?
Yeah.
Because if everyone is doing for a long enough time, the junior will not be junior anymore because he's doing long enough time. There is still the back. So the only difference is not who is using it. What's the difference then? The person itself, as it was before.
Yeah.
Because it's leveling the field. Yeah. So at the beginning they were saying the statistics. If an intern using that now can produce. Yeah, sure, because it's still an intern.
Yeah.
Basically, what it does, the technology, what it does is shortening the path to get better. And by the way, if you're even smart, if you're intern and medium, compare an intern that is medium, an intern that is very clever. I hate the word clever, but just
Yeah.
it's on a discussion for another day. I don't
was gonna
believe
chat about
exactly in that.
Yeah.
But let's do this comparison, right? So the clever one, who is gonna learn faster? Still a clever one, right?
Hmm.
Even AI, it will use better.
Hmm.
I mean, there's no, because when you compare with both using so leveling the field even between the two is that now you will say, oh, they will catch up faster with the best. But when you get to the best, there's still the 1% difference. They will be still there. And now, why would you care for 1% difference if you 99 you're already there? That's the other question, right? If you are 99 there, probably you're gonna serve the same clients anyway. So why you should waste huge amount for 1%? Because then it's called logarithmic scale. So basically 1% costs huge, based on 99 because less.
That's right.
The point, right? Why we do that? I mean, you're gonna serve the client anyway, right? You get rid of these people because at the end of the day, it's a result for you as a company, right? And you get a profit. Yeah. So imagine this situation, right? I'll let you do. Let's do together the exercise. So you remove them because at the end of the day, 1% costs you huge, and you get basically the same result. The client doesn't even recognize I did it because he has the same app. Perfect. And now you have huge profit. Happy days. Yeah. As a business owner. Perfect. Now even your competitors doing the same, right? And now imagine this: the beauty of capitalism. One of these business owners say, hang on, if I have that much profit, yes, I can put in my pocket. How about I use a part to outsource to beat my competition again? And what do I need to do if I want to beat my competition again? I cannot use AI already maximizing. The only thing I can do is rehire people and try to do more service for the same time so that I can house my competitor. Usually what I say is you fire on Monday, and hopefully it will be longer, I know, but you hire back on Friday. Yeah? You fire on Monday because you have the profit and then say, hang on, but if I have much profit, I can oust my competition out. Obviously, sadly, it will not be Monday to Friday.
No.
Sadly.
Yeah. So
it will be, I don't know, it could be a few years, sadly. But hey, it's capitalism. If you have more profit, you can take the money in your pocket, but 1 year, 2 years, maybe. At the third year, either you invest as anyone else or you have an inferior product from your competitor.
Yep.
That's
so
it.
you need to reinvest it into people again. Yeah.
If you don't have anything else, that's the only thing you got to do, right?
Yep.
So, Andrea, a little earlier, a box appeared here, and we have a question from our audience. So, it is, what are the skills for the future if everyone is using AI? I think that's really a good question because I'm always curious to know, what people will need to, I guess, what skills will be important if everyone's using AI and, will it be interpersonal skills? Like what are those skills?
So first and foremost, I see that so many times. Look, for those of you, don't get offended, okay? But the first thing they need to learn is to type fast. I know it seems trivial, but I see so many people, including sometimes consultant employees I have, learn to type fast, okay? So it seems trivial, but if you don't type fast, you can be the cleverest person in the world. It doesn't matter, okay? You need to increase Now, there will be one day, even that will know important. It's called brain-computer interface, but that's not the point. We are not there. We are far from that. So, learn how to type fast, first thing. If you do that, you probably are going to maximize that already. Second, don't be afraid to get wrong or try different things. That's what I kind of see, especially, sorry to say, is not, my judgment is no, but hopefully you will take in the right way. Especially if women have a problem of testing different things. They're a little bit scared and not doing the right thing. There's nothing right or wrong if you try different stuff.
So take more risks, be a bit more of a risk taker. So risk takers will excel.
Absolutely. Especially for which basically means confidence. Yeah. basically that's what it means. Especially if you're a junior, and that's fair, because if you're a junior, even less confident. Right? How can you be confident of things that you never know? I get it. It's fair. I understand. But just risk a little bit, okay? Risk a little bit more. So be fast in typing. Risk on different things. Try different things. Don't worry if you go wrong. Okay, well, no, with a grain of salt. That's the point. If you're just doing these things, so basically take your anxiety down when you're trying different things you don't know, and be okay with that. And typing fast, I think you're already kind of good in your learning career, in learning fast, basically. I'm trying to give few hacks to learning fast. Okay, try different things, go around, don't get too affected, don't diminish yourself on the confidence, and type fast. If you do this thing on the communication part, by the way, when I recruit people, I spend a lot of time communication, because to me is the differentiation. It's about being able to be understood, talking technical topics. Obviously, in my case, it's a highly technical topic, but everyone has a technical topic if doing any job, right? And so marketing, I suppose, they are their own, technicalities and stuff that I don't know. But you need to be able to be understood all the time by anyone. If you can do that, to me, from a working perspective, communication, you're doing it right. Now, here's the problem, especially with nerdy people like me. It is a problem that can be solved only by time. Okay. The problem is this. I have a bachelor in physics, then I did my PhD in computational fluid dynamics, etc. What does it mean? It means I studied a lot. And when people study a lot, it doesn't open their mouth too much. Apart from the exams, because most of the time you're reading. I mean, your mouth is literally shut.
Yeah.
It just is the way it is. If you study, you didn't move your mouth too much. So that's something you need to catch up later. That's what I did. Yeah. You see me that hopefully I've been, intelligible as I speak. But that wasn't granted, because most of my young years were with my mouth shut, because I was studying, apart from the exam when I needed to speak. So it's the way around. So many people learn to talk a lot, but they didn't study too much. So you need kind of a balance. If you want a balance, it's not necessary, okay? But definitely, if you want a career in what I do, you need both. The only reason I say is time, because obviously, if you study, you're not moving your mouth. It's like that.
Yeah, so you definitely need the communication skills. You need the knowledge as well of that study. You need that balance. If you want to work in tech or AI, you definitely need to have those both.
At a high level.
Yeah, at a high level. If you were just in any business, do these things ring true in terms of your skills for the future if you're in any business, because AI will be part of your workflow, that you need to learn to type fast, take risks, have confidence, learn
Not
fast,
any business.
communication
if
skills.
you're a plumber, I don't know.
I
So.
guess if you're a physical plumber, but I guess in business, those skills would still be needed. Do you think the skills of the future, people will need to learn how to write code? Do you think that is important?
No.
Or anything like that? No. Because I've heard that you should teach kids. You should teach kids how to do that now. Teach kids how to write code and learn code.
No, I don't think. No, okay. It's a long discussion today, but I can say a few things unrelated. Maybe I can relate if I let a little bit more time. So first of all, one of the predictions is actually in the State of AI report. I think it's the last page, something like, at some point, everyone will talk Pi English. Pi is come from Python, which is a programming language.
Yep.
Yeah. English is English, so Pi English. Why I say that? Because with AI, what happens, the barrier to learn to code. What happens is you type whatever, write me a script, write me your HTML, the website page or whatever, and they write to you. Now, what happens is it almost right. It's still, there are tweaks or things that are not exactly right. So you need to modify that somehow, okay? But you don't know exactly what it is. So what happens is, but at that moment, 90% that, there's just 1% left. So it's a huge incentive for you to learn at least a bit of that, because it's just 1% there. It's very different from you don't have AI and you have 100% to do, right? So there is a huge, that's why I say it's by use. I think it's a half of a joke, by the way, in the report. So by 2027, almost everyone will talk Pi English. What I mean by that is people that didn't know how to code, at least they pick up some words. It will be even in the dictionary, Oxford this and something, because at least the lower will be lower. That 1% will be incentivize a lot of people to at least learn something that will fix the 1% necessary to do all their website. That's one thing, because it's just the lower in the barrier, yeah? Now, all the kids, I think, kids learning coding, all of that, at that young age, there are so many things you learn. Anyway, that also means you need to cut something else, unless you want to say that the kids should expand indefinitely 24-hour their time of study. So when I hear all these things, I don't understand what they mean, because either you're saying that what they're studying today, there is something that is redundant, not useful, debatable, or they are saying that you need to expand the hour of the time they need to study. In which case, I don't know, if it doesn't play when someone is a kid, when he's supposed to play. I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical when I hear all of that. Okay, yes, kids should be prepared for the adult life. And I'm someone that study a lot. I mean, but hey, we need to understand if, we want kids to, to be kids, or just forget about your childhood, just prepare for an adult life, and skip that.
Yeah, no, it's like keep the kids being kids, but at the same time, you're saying they need to have a little bit of, you're saying everyone needs to have just that little bit of coding knowledge, or just be able to talk it, or just have like a basic understanding.
Yeah, but that will become natural. It's not something that you force at school. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
it should, in fact. It's natural because there is incentive now. I mean, if you code a type of prompt and your website there, but it's just 1% missing, I think you have a huge incentive just to learn, like, I don't know, there are 30 hours necessary to fix that bigger thing. Yeah? It's completely different if I tell you, hey, write a that is not 30 hours or 10 hours, whatever. It's significant time for you, and you're not going to do it. Fair. So you will learn something of the code.
Yeah. So just basic little learning and adapting, and maybe just like picking up, having that curiosity for technology as well, and sort of learning these little things along the way will kind of set you in good stead for, the future of work with AI alongside it.
Yeah.
So in summary, the people that are going to excel with AI in the future are going to be ones that have rudimentary typing skills. Obviously, the faster you can type, faster conversation you can hold with an AI model, right? So increasing your capacity to have conversations and learn more. You think the people that are going to be risk takers are obviously always historically going to be the people that do well. And then finally, people who have some semblance of an understanding of coding phraseology or terminology or concepts, may not necessarily know how to code and practice, but can hold a conversation with someone that knows what they're doing. These are the people that are going to excel.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit of coding, but again, you don't need your child to ruin your childhood to do that.
Yeah.
I don't see that. Yeah,
you're killing the dreams of a lot of people right now, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, I never seen that way anyway. And there are so many things to study beyond AI. I know it's the topic of the day, and then I have a job because there is a topic of the day. But look, there are anything not revolving on AI. I think, yes, of course, they will produce movie using AI, or they are doing it. They will be even doing more. But there will be, I still think there will be many things you can do. Yes, there will be some sort of AI base or whatever. But, no, our humanity, will not be diminished per se. No, I don't think so.
I've got one last question for you here. Having spent a significant chunk of your adult life studying, having come out on the other end of this if you could speak to your younger self, knowing what you know now about AI, its capacity to educate, inform, and empower people, do you feel your education is as valuable today as it was when you would have done it when you started?
I think so. Because at the end of the day, what I really learn, yes, I think so. There are a few reasons. One is, this is one of the way I don't like cleverness, etc., because it's implicitly says something static. If ever I see something like clever, I don't think it's something. I'm more clever than I am 18. And the reason why I'm more clever now is because I put the effort and study so much. I understand so many things. Without understanding so many things, I wouldn't be able to use AI, even prompting AI. It's not the same as a person to study 30 years. Not me, by the way. I know, it's not about that. It's a person who studied 20 years will not do the same prompt as a person that didn't study, as basic knowledge of English, right? The only way it will be the same is the AI, the human is completely out of the loop. Then obviously it doesn't matter because the AI, it doesn't make any. But we'll go to that, adapt it, not in the foreseeable future. The only way to remove completely ourselves, then no difference, right? But the moment there is still this difference, is important because that's the only way you refine. Refine is an unders because refine means little improvement. I think I massive improvement myself over all these years studying. So it is not so much of what I study. It's the fact that I put the effort, I study. Especially I encounter, try to go over. When I say before about, the young people that do mistakes, and when I see mistake or they in front of their own anxiety, etc., sometimes it's mistake in your head, right? How many times there are mistakes in your head? You think this is an important thing not to get wrong, but if you detach a little bit, it doesn't matter if you go that mistake. It's on your mind, the anxiety things, right? The ability to diminish your emotional bad emotion, by the way, no, all the myself, etc. At least in my case, I learn with time. I going to the effort of studying and trying to calm me down and still studying and focusing, etc. I could not see being able to become less anxious in a difficult context with a difficult thing to study because without doing that, if that makes sense. The fact that I did something difficult like physics, etc., was difficult, at least for me, allow me to calm down my own emotion because when you're something difficult, you judge yourself. Oh, I'm not able to do it. All that. Calm that down. Just don't keep doing it. Is something that it cannot. So sorry, I'm debating, but the answer is
the idea of perseverance.
I hope it's clear why I'm doing this internal debate because it's not about what I study. It's the fact that I think that I put myself in the risky. If it makes me laugh to say the risky position, the person that studied.
Yep.
What was the risk? That I could do another job and fail the exam? Fine, I could fail the exam. You see that. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's the art of studying and learning, I guess, as well. Like the skills you have are the skills in learning, in overcoming challenges, in perseverance, in adapting, in things like that. Like that form of study actually built you up to where you are now in terms of those things. Yeah.
Equally important, if not more important, in all the process, not forget your emotion and anxiety, etc., and be able to calm that down, not listen to that much, etc. That, in fact, probably that is even more important. Yeah. But that has been triggered. I mean, the learning of how to hold all this negative emotion and anxiety has been triggered only because I did something difficult.
Yeah. So you knew you could
without
do that.
I could not learn.
Yeah. I know I can do a
This.
physics degree now,
Yeah.
so I don't need to worry about this other thing because I know I've got that. I've got
As
that
long as
confidence and that
it's not
anxiety.
because it's physics, it's because it was difficult for me.
Yeah. So you've overcome that difficulty, so you can now know that you can do other things.
Yeah.
I suppose why I raised that is there seems to be battle lines being drawn today where people are picking sides between whether or not they feel a formal education given to today's access to tools like large language models and such are they're putting people on more evil playing fields, whereas someone who had the ability like yourself to spend 8 years in a university to learn these things, whereas in South I can just go on to a large language model and get that answer myself without having learned everything.
I get it. Can I add one thing? I think it's very important. It's not about a formal education or any. In fact,
sorry, that's what my question is. Do you think do you still feel a formal education is as valuable today as you believed it was when you started 8 years ago?
I can elaborate a little bit more. It's important.
Sure.
So first of all, I did a talk in No Degree podcast. I think it's nodegree.com, the domain, I think. In fact, in which I asked me, it was it was a pleasure for me to do that talk, how you can become an AI engineer or machine learning engineer, data scientist with no degree. Yeah? It is possible. And nothing against that, by the way. If I recruit someone, I don't necessarily look at what degree you have. However, it's more difficult. And why is more difficult? First of all, it's more difficult because I assume you cannot afford the university, you need to study, etc. Even the time is more, so you need more commitment. But there is also, we are back on the emotional part of being a human, I would say. So if I am in a degree, for the good or the bad, I within other people, and these people not necessarily, they kind of push me because I don't want to be less than them, etc. There is kind of a competition, etc. And there are many variety, but you get what I point. If you are in a no degree or alone kind of situation, you are alone. You have no one else to compare. No push. Not this push. It's way more difficult to stay on the path and focused. In fact, it's more difficult to do without it. It's not impossible, it's just way more difficult. It's not because it's formal. It's because it's without I think it's because with other people, with a certain trajectory, but in the difficult moment, it helps you to keep you in the path.
There's like
obviously,
a degree
you
of
have a difficult
competition
moment
that
of doubting
pushes
yourself.
you. Yeah.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't have that when you're alone. In a difficult moment, you're alone. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not about because it's formal. It's about because you have this structure around you that pushes you even in the hardest moments. That's what I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
That's my opinion.
We are definitely getting the time now. We spent about an hour and 40 minutes having a really, really interesting conversation. And I'm surprised that we've got through maybe a fraction of the questions that we wanted to actually raise with you.
We'll have to do a part two
We'll
if you'll come back.
Sure.
But we always like to end these conversations, especially capturing perspectives, unique perspectives, someone like yourself, with, is there any particular technology that you feel you either can't live without, or if someone were to start a business today, you wouldn't be able to hold yourself back from recommending it to them to make sure that they're as effective in their role as possible?
Probably not the plumber. I'm not talking about the plumber, just in case. So if there's some plumber listening, please, it's not for you. For everyone else, any technology, I think something like Perplexity or similar will be good.
What's Perplexity?
But Perplexity is kind of a LLM, but it's good because the design is such a thing that it gives you, first of all, different optional models, as in, like, 3 weeks ago, OpenAI released a new model, right? In 1 week, it's already there. You can choose different models. So it can give you option. So you will never be below the trend, whatever that you are. Okay, because today I think Claude releases a new model, right? It should both be the best. If you are in OpenAI, you cannot use it. But if you use it after like a Perplexity, you will be always asked to the latest available without changing anything, kind of thing. But it's important to not be lazy. But hey, it depends on the individual who I am to tell them. But because if you're using and not checking, etc., you will have, again, we come back to, you will have the short-term advantage to be seen as best, perceived as best. But if you don't put the effort, you're reaching a point in the effort you didn't accumulate over time, it will not make you better. And therefore, you start to lose to the people that use as you, but put the effort which you did. You will not realize soon, though. That's a problem. You will have quick wins constantly until that moment, but that moment will be too late. Sorry.
Yeah, you'll be relying on it too much that you'll lose your other skills, and then you'll be just like status quo. Whereas other people that have still built their other skills, put in more effort,
and you will not see the
will
difference.
Be above. Yeah, until
that's the problem.
Down the track. Yeah,
you will not see the difference between these or three people, right? They look, the output will be the same.
On
that's
a personal level,
until it's too late.
Yeah.
But I think as a manager, hopefully you have the skills to recognize bad ideas that were put into an AI model and maybe refined versus someone who's got really good ideas.
As a manager,
and also work
ethic
as well, work ethic and things like that as well. Like I think I'm a big believer in work ethic, so I have these conundrums about AI and work ethic.
If you say the human face to face, but even camera, frankly, as directly you see a few times, you should be ever feeling you waste this person. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, I agree. Andrea, it's been an absolute fantastic conversation. I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show.
No, thank you.
Help our listeners understand where they can find you and hear more about what you do. I understand you've written a book. Take a moment to sort of walk our audiences through that.
Sure, of course. Well, my main point of contact is actually LinkedIn. I cannot accept everyone, but I read every message. If you want to write, email is andrea@aitechnologies.co. I have an AI newsletter if we want to hear my silly things about AI and philosophy about AI. It's called AI by a Human. It's on LinkedIn as well, or on Medium. And if you want the state of AI report, is at stateofartificialintelligence.com. It's free. You can download that.
That's an annual report?
That's the way. This is an annual report.
I'll definitely be paying attention to that website to get my updates. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your time. Again, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Loved it. It's been great.
Thanks,
Andrea.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for tuning into the Tech Panel. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay connected. A big thank you to our major sponsor, Codeworthy, for powering today's episode, and join us again on the next episode of the Tech Panel, where tech minds meet.